Hey everybody, this is Jose. We're about to start. This is a sound check. Please go ahead and give us a quick message on the chat box just to confirm that you hear my voice. So we are ready to start, please. Very good. We just reached the top of the hour. So again, I just need your sound confirmation and we'll be ready to go. Okay, good, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dirk. How are you, everyone? I see your messages there, Charles, Dirk, Tui. Very nice to see you all. Very, very good. Okay, let's begin our session. Everyone, today is October 24, 2019. We are getting together to take a look at the markets from a longer term perspective. We'll be looking at longer term opportunities, which means anything above and beyond intraday. Okay, so trades that could be 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. Okay, we'll be ready to execute those type of trades. My name I didn't say, Jose Blasco, I'll be your guide. And before we start, as always, I'll go over the disclaimer quickly so we can start. So the following videos, clips, and demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Traditive provide these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. You can understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only, and it's not a guide and does not provide any indication of the results. Even you understand the grade of political results obtained through demonstration, getting it where the results you may use products. Perfect, we got it. Introduction is done. Here is our beautiful trade station. Charts are loaded. Not only the charts are loaded, I've been running the scanners as well. So we have our opportunities, our list of symbols are ready, and therefore we are ready to begin the day. 29 minutes from now, it's 9:01 a.m. in New York as we speak. So 29 minutes from now, the US markets will begin trading. And that's important because that's when we can start placing orders and getting filled. But also it's important to remember that 10 minutes before that, which is 9:20, around that time, this is when option chains will be reset. And then we cannot do much when it comes to planning option trades until the market opens. Okay, so we have 10 minutes there, which is a little bit of a dead zone, a little bit. So what I'll do is during the time that we have until 9:20, I'm going to be focusing, as I almost always do, on non-directional trades, begin the planning, and whenever we get to that 10 minutes prior to the market opens, I'll switch to the directional trades, okay, directional long, directional short, that we can see here on our scanner, because those imply a little bit more of chart work that can be done without looking at the option chain. So then I would switch then to those trades, and then when the market opens, we would then work with all together, directional, non-directional, and if we find no opportunities, then we'll also expand into the neutral trades, just in case we don't find pure non-directional or pure directional. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, Thomas, there was a change of schedule yesterday. We did send an email about that, and we changed it on the schedule on the website as well. So actually, the session that was supposed to be done yesterday will be done tomorrow. Okay, so you have not missed it. It's just going to be tomorrow, same time as always. Okay. Dirk, it seems that you're having a problem with the sound. Could everyone please confirm if the sound is correct? Is it a problem on my end, or has it been just a little temporary problem on your end, Dirk? Go ahead, confirm if my sound is echoing and fading in and out, or the sound is okay. In the meantime, I'll do a little confirmation here as well, just in case. Oh, yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. I was using the wrong device. Okay, I believe the sound should be much better now. Could you please confirm the sound is much better now? I think that should be the case. Sorry for that. Silly little mistake on my end, selecting the wrong microphone. Much better now. Okay, good, perfect. Thank you so much, Babu. Good to see all of you guys, Lisa, Thomas, everyone. It's a pleasure. So anyway, so let's go for it. Okay, so let's begin. I clicked here on ND, which stands for non-directional. We're gonna be looking for credit spreads out of this list. We got a collection of symbols: Amazon, Disney, Electronics Arc, Facebook, a bunch of stocks, some of them pretty good stocks in the sense of companies that are traded often and therefore have and provide good liquidity in the options world. Thomas, you hear nothing? I'm surprised. Actually, you could say I hear nothing when I am asking to confirm if you hear something. So, could you please confirm if it's just a little bit of humor or you have a technical problem with the sound? That would be good to know. All set. Okay, wonderful. Just joking here on my end as well. So anyway, here we go. I'm loading Yahoo Finance to be able to use the calendar of earnings as we always do. As you know, a quick repeat here, I always say because it's critical, the reason why, for example, Amazon may be a company with very high premium in the options, maybe because earnings is around the corner. Okay, we need to be aware of that. Okay, and by the way, Amazon and Google both are stocks of a pretty high price value, which I'm not saying is wrong to trade them, absolutely not, but it does require a very, very large account. Okay, so in order to be a little more compatible with everyone, I'm gonna start ignoring Amazon and Google and focus on all the other symbols first, okay? And then at the end, we can certainly take a look at those stocks as well, okay? So I'll start with Disney. Disney is certainly liquid and is on the top of the list. So let's go ahead and check. So we have Disney with earnings on November 6th, okay? November 6th would be the earnings. We are trading today on October 24, which means that we could be using November 1st as the expiration date for that trade. We cannot use November 8th. That would be the next Friday. Okay, and I'm just noticing that maybe it's more visual if I show it to you like this. So today is the 24th. So the next Friday would be the 1st, and the next Friday would be the 8th. Okay, so the 8th we cannot because earnings would happen on the 6th, which is before. But certainly we can use the 1st. Okay, as long as we have a proper trade setup. Okay, so I'm gonna click on Disney to see where we're at. Okay, also keep in mind that markets have been quite strong. Many stocks out there are making all-time high. So we may have stocks in the list that may have green UFOs but may not have red UFOs. And if that's the case, then we will not be able to do non-directional trading. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind. Okay, so let's see. PD for pending data. So we just need to wait a little longer and we'll have all the data loaded here for Disney. How many candles am I loading here? Just out of curiosity, make sure I'm doing this right. I am loading 1,587, so that's good. Okay, 55-minute time frame. And I am eager to finish the load. Here we go. So we got 51.58%. If I was to look at pre and post market, the 51 becomes 57, which is better. Okay. So in this trade, it's looking like we're gonna be using pre and post market data. It creates a significant difference here, as you can see, from 51 to 57. Okay. And once we have the chart loaded and we can see we have green and red UFOs, it's then time to open the Option Station Pro just to run a purely statistical calculation to anticipate what the price could be out of prior volatility. Of course, that calculation does not guarantee anything. That's why we need to rely on the UFOs to have a much better tradable range for the Iron Condor that we are putting in place for Disney. But certainly it's a good thing to start with an objective calculation, as we covered in sharpening sessions, isn't it? Where we will be defining the minimum range using stats and then use UFOs on top of that to increase our odds. Okay, so I am loading Disney, as you can see. The moment Disney loads, I will click on November 1st expiration. Okay, November 1st expiration, and I will right click anywhere to analyze and sell an Iron Condor. So this brings the Iron Condor into my analysis tab, where I can change the -5 to be +1 standard deviation and the -5 and the +5 to -1 standard deviation. So this tells me that no matter the strikes I selected, what's key at this moment in time is to select the right date, not the strikes. So having selected November 1st as the right date, okay, it's telling me that Disney got potential to move all the way to 35 point something and all the way to 127 point something. So keeping those numbers in mind, we are gonna go back to the chart, okay, and draw those figures, okay. We said 127 something, right? We said 127 70 and 135.58. So 127.70 is more or less here, and 135.58. So we are talking about something like that. So in other words, we need to have at least two UFOs that protects us, okay? And so this would be the second one. Okay, so it's clear that on the upper end we would be using 138. So if you do the math, and you take, oh, interesting, I didn't want to open Edge, I wanted to use the calculator. Here we go. So if you do the math, let me pin it here. So if you do the math and you look at 138 compared to the current price is, which is 131.5, okay, we're talking about $6.5. So if I project this below, that's gonna bring the bottom line to be ideally around 125, okay? Now, it doesn't seem that we have anything below 125, okay, or around 125. That would be the ideal place, okay? But before I load more data and I get to see if this trade will work or not, okay, I have a little bit of the feel that 128, visually speaking, okay, this is just out of being visual, 138 feels to be a little far away from current price, and I'm just concerned I may not get paid enough. So what I'm gonna do is 138, look at it, and yes, I get paid 12 cents. As you probably remember, and you should know that the minimum we want is 35. In special cases, we could take 25, but in this case, we are only getting paid 12. So in other words, I would certainly go ahead and look for other green UFOs below by loading more data and things like that. But even if that was the case, I will not get the premium I need using November 1st. Okay, so Disney basically is to be discarded, and therefore I'm going to move into electronic arts and also Facebook. Okay, so EA. Okay, and we'll keep looking for the opportunities until all our rules are met. That's how we stack odds in our favor. It's part of being patient. So October 30 is the next expiration date. Obviously, this happens prior to November 1st. Okay, so we are gonna pass on EA. What about Facebook? So with Facebook, FB. So Facebook got earnings on the 31st. Same story. We cannot do it with November 1st. Now, Facebook is almost $200 per share stock, where EA is $95 per share. So, you know, with Facebook, what we could try, that most of the times would not work, but if it does, it's really worth it as a try. So what we could try is to use an earnings, which an expiration date, I meant to say, to be tomorrow on the 25. Instead of using November 1st, okay? So that would be only 1 day to expiration. I mean, technically it's almost 2 because it's the whole day today and the whole day tomorrow. So it's 1 to 2 days of expiration. Normally you get very little premium for that, but if the UFOs happen to be on the right place, so maybe we could do that. As I said, it almost never works, but if it does, it's a very high probability trade in the sense that the speed of time decay is really, really massive. So what about regular session? Regular session is giving us well, still pending data, so we're gonna wait 1 sec. We're gonna wait for that one. Okay, come on, pending data. Okay, I just want to compare the stats that we got with regular session compared to pre and post market. Pre and post market was 57, I believe it was. Okay, we're gonna see it in a sec. I believe it's loading messages, download scheduler. Yes, it's still downloading. So the moment Facebook goes away from this list, that means that everything will be loaded properly. So we just need to wait. In the meantime, just to use my time
more efficiently. GLD is an ETF. We'll pass on that one. Google, as we said before, we'll leave it for the last, okay, because of the very high price point in this case. Group is a stock with less liquidity and low price point, so we'll pass. Intel, it's an amazing company, but the stock is quite boring, so normally it's little premium, so we'll pass. What else do we have here? Well, certainly in the bottom part we got Tesla. That one normally has plenty of premium. Yeah, and for example, Walgreen Boots Alliance is normally pretty good, even though it's a price point. Qualcomm is normally pretty good, even though it's lower price point. So we got a collection of markets for us to check here, okay? So we got 56% with a regular session. With pre-post market. With regular session, 56 becomes 46. So it's obvious that when using Facebook, we should be using pre and post market session, isn't it? And so before I get into stats or anything, because we need to have at least 2 UFOs in our favor, that's number 1, and this is number 2. So the closest option I should sell on Facebook would be the 198.5. So if that's the case, in order for me to not to waste any time and know if I got something that looks tradable, I'm gonna go ahead and look at the 198.5 using October 25 expiration. Okay, we don't have 198, we have 200, and the 200 pays you 2 cents. So definitely there is no premium enough for this trade. Okay, so we're gonna go for the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going here. Okay, so just looking at the list. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna go for Tesla. That one is normally a stock with a great level of premium in it. So we'll go for that one. Oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, 17% up, okay, overnight. So this has to be earnings. Okay, this has to be earnings on Tesla. So, you know, obviously not the right time to trade because those options are gonna be so low value right now. Okay, yeah, so October 23, okay, that is when the report took place, after hours, I guess, and this is the move that you could see as a reaction to this report. Okay, so Tesla would not be valid for us. Okay, so LRCX, okay, so let's load that symbol as well as check the earnings for that stock. So LRCX earnings just took place on the 23. So we have a similar situation. The real value for the options will be different. You know that I said that many times. In the TradeStation platform, the implied volatility value is updated once per day at the end of the day, meaning that we are likely running the scanner with some delay in that value. And therefore, that stock, as you can see, already moved 8% up as well. You know, earnings, all that stuff is late. Okay, so I want to have a stop here with Qualcomm to see what's going on. Yeah, thanks for that. I'm reading your comments, guys. Thanks, Dirk, as well as Lisa. Hey, Bojan has joined us. It's a pleasure to see you, my friend. So we are looking at Qualcomm here. Okay, looking at Qualcomm, November 7, okay, is the earnings date that we have. So that gives us certainly certain level of flexibility, okay? So we still have 2 minutes of time, so I may need to rush a little bit here, but let me see if we got time to do the statistical calculation for Qualcomm, so at least we can plan the trade. Okay, so loading Qualcomm, loading. We'll do November 1st, right click, analyze and sell, Iron Condor. And we're gonna go ahead and add +1 and -1 when it comes to the standard deviation values, which point at 81.7 and 74. Okay, so 81.7 and 74. So 81.7. Somewhere there, and 74, that would be where the price is expected to be. Okay, so do we have anything above? So let me check the monthly time frame. Again, there are so many stocks making all-time highs or about to make all-time high that certainly there may be things above price, right? So this goes back all the way to May earlier this year. So I'm gonna go back to 55-minute time frame, and I want to make sure I'm loading all the way from May. So beginning date May 1st, 2019. So that way I make sure I got everything loaded. There is a UFO there, actually, conveniently. Anyway, we got 84% with pre and post market. Regular session is giving us 46. Okay, so for that stock, pre and post market, like Facebook, makes a major difference. Okay, so because 74 is the below limit, we're gonna move it down, of course, below the UFO. That's 72.74, and we got 2 UFOs to defend ourselves. On the upper side, okay, we need to be above 81.71. Okay, and we got 81.70. So again, it's not ideal, isn't it? Normally you would want it to be right above, but I guess that given the fact that the next one is so far away, I guess that you will not call me crazy if I was to say that 81.71 is fine. Okay, the only thing that is bothering me a little bit here is the fact that then we're gonna be a little bit higher in the range. Okay, so since it's now 9:20, as you can see on my screen in the bottom right. Well, obviously I cannot load the option chain and look at this more properly. So what I'll do is I'm gonna wait for the market to open. Qualcomm is supposed to open up by 0.73%. If Qualcomm was to begin falling in the beginning part of the day, it may come closer to the midpoint of the range, and that may make me a little happier when it comes to planning this trade. Okay, so I made a note for myself to go back and look at Qualcomm as the market opens. Okay, so this is where we got in those initial minutes as the session has started, and now I will stop looking at non-directional opportunities, and I will change my hat from non-directional to directional trader. Okay, and now everything I'm going to be doing in the next 10 minutes or so will be looking at the charts, looking for directional opportunities. We'll start with the long, and then we'll move into the shorts. Okay, and then when the market opens, then we'll be everywhere in order to plan all those trades. Okay, so what do we have here with BP? So we have a stock that when moving up is likely to move by 7 candles on the daily time frame. We got 4 candles into the climate, so certainly buying that stock makes sense based on the climate. Of course, we need the UFOs, we need everything. We still got pending data here, so we need to wait. I'm gonna click on the most liquid stocks first. Okay, so we got Citibank as well, very liquid stock, very liquid options as well. CSH is not the best, but it's not so bad. EWH is an ETF, so I will pass on that. FedEx, certainly a nice stock with nice options. Morgan Stanley as well, very nice. PDD, that one I never traded that stock. Okay, so I'm guessing that liquidity may not be the best. We can always check if we didn't have opportunities. And also Pepsi Cola, very stable company. Certainly, given the right climate and right everything, it would be a good candidate for the trades. Okay, so again, back to BP. Let's see if all the data has loaded. We got 52% probabilities when loading pre and post market data. When loading regular session, 52 becomes 48. So certainly pre and post market is the way to go for BP. We are in the right climate. I just said it before. 38 is the current value for the average. I'm expecting this value to be much higher, much higher, because already the close yesterday was very stretched, but notice how that stock is going to open up 1.54% higher as the market opens. Okay, so certainly that 38.02 maybe 38.5 or even higher. Okay, so notice how we got multiple UFOs here overlapping each other around that price, or around the 38.5, and therefore I'm just gonna go ahead and plan a trade on BP. Okay, where our entry point would be 38.92. Okay, and our final target. Okay, our final target. So I'm just gonna enable AutoUFOs. Okay, our final target with BP weekly time frame will be right here, which is 40.77. Okay, so 40.77, and I just made a note for myself. Okay, later on I will repeat those values as we plan the trade with options. Okay, but right now we do have what looks to be a proper plan based on the chart. We just need to make sure the options are also okay for this trade. Okay. Next one that we're gonna check is CSX. Sorry, Citigroup. Okay, that's gonna be the next one. So what do we have with Citigroup? Well, we are late to the party here, okay? So when that market goes up, it's supposed to be by 6 candles. We already got 9, and remember, we always give it an extra room, which is 50% more, okay? But 6, which let's call it 7, and 50%, that would be 10, and 10 is gonna be the candle that we have today. So basically, we are late, okay? So we're gonna pass on this one. CSX, let's see what we have. So from a climate point of view, we are borderline with late, okay? 7.56, let's call it 8 is the amount of candles normally that stock stays in an uptrend. 8 is the current amount of candles meeting our climate rules to the upside. So entering today, there would be candle number 9. I mean, given the fact that we give 50%, so 8 and 50%, that would be 12, so we can still enter. Okay, but we will need to use half of the size. Okay, so assuming all of this is true, so the next question is what the value of the average will be, and it's currently 70.16. So when that market opens, is up only by a little bit, 0.26%. So it's not a lot, to be honest, and therefore I would expect the average to change a lot. And if it's not going to change a lot, then it's going to be 50. Well, there is nothing around 70.50. Actually, let me double check that because I'm still looking at pre and post market data. So if I look at regular session, that's 54. Okay. So, well, actually we have the same around 70.50. We got nothing. Okay. So this is probably if that market keeps moving higher for another day or two, probably you'll have a valid entry at that higher price point around 71 something. But at this moment in time, it's looking like we don't. I could, if we were to find no opportunities at all, I may come back and double check just in case I'm wrong with my visual projection for the moving average. But I would say that's looking to be like that. Okay. Oh, earnings happen to be so close for BP, Lisa. Okay, that's very good to know. Of course, that would invalidate the trade. So we'll see that when the market opens. But thanks for the heads up. So FedEx, loading the chart for FedEx here. So we have a little bit of pending data. So we just need to wait. And remember, the life of a trader is to say no many more things than you say yes. Okay, that's the life of a trader. Meaning that if every time you load a chart, you're gonna take the trade, you are over trading. So our job is to be selective, to be picky, and give many no's to the opportunities, which imply a little bit of usage of our time, but that's how you add probabilities, okay? So we always need to be selective, okay? So pre and post market, okay, hopefully improve that 46%, and yes, that 46% becomes 50% now, so it's good. Climate-wise, we got 7 candles, this is gonna 8, number 9, so it's almost too late, okay? 150.96, that would bring the UFOs that we need to be down here, and there are none. So FedEx will not work. What about Morgan Stanley? I think Morgan Stanley was moving like a crazy stock to the upside. Look at this amazing move to the upside. So normally 5.54 would be what you expect with that stock, but we just got a 9-day straight move up, meeting all our rules for climate. Today's going to be number 10, so certainly it's too late to buy, and we don't have evidence enough to sell. We need to wait for a change of climate, okay? And finally, Pepsi. Okay, what do we have with Pepsi? So with Pepsi, we may have a change of climate as the market opens in a few seconds from now. Okay, It's gonna be nice to watch. So we got 40 seconds to go, 35 seconds to go. Notice how the last dot is red, but the scanner is giving you Pepsi. So what does that mean? It means that when the market opens today, Pepsi will meet our rules and we're gonna have a blue dot, okay? We're gonna have a blue dot in just 20 seconds, okay? So I want to get ready for that, okay? Because that's gonna be the case. So we got 52% with pre and post market. With regular session, Pepsi give us 51. Pre and post was what again? 52. So 52 would be better. The current value, okay, here we go. Okay, market just opened. We just got the blue dot, you see? Technology working in sync is beautiful, saving us time. So we got an average of 137. Okay, the average went up, and 137 we got nothing here. Having said that, the difference in stats is very, very similar. So, and we do have a beautiful UFO here at 137. So you know what? I think that we're gonna go ahead and plan a trade on this one, because it certainly makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna activate AutoUFOs. Okay, AutoUFOs. Wait a minute, I think that we looked at that stock the other day and it's about to make all-time high, isn't it? I think that was the case. And if that's the case, that means that we will not be using a target. Okay, so disable auto UFO. So let me look at monthly. Yeah, yes, perfect. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna plan the trade. Okay, so let's begin with FedEx. Okay, that's gonna be the first trade for the day. Okay, so target means no target. Okay, we're gonna be just trailing stop, following price as much as we can. That's gonna be the way we're gonna deal with this trade. Normally, if a stock begins making all-time high where we are close by, normally you have a very intense push, unless that's not the case. So the idea is to expose ourselves to that very intense push, and if that's not the case, then we'll take a loss or we'll take a small profit, because you can certainly move your stop higher as the market goes higher. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the option chain for Pepsi. So PEP. Okay, so I'm going to load the option chain. In parallel, I also need to double check earning dates. Okay, earning dates. Yeah, Dirk, the difference in probabilities were so minor for after market hours compared to regular session that I decided to use regular session, because it was way above 50% in both cases, 51 point something in one and 52 in the other one. So it's kind of the same. And you know, I did have not one but actually two UFO identified, and therefore that justifies executing this trade. Okay, so February 13 is the earnings date for Pepsi Cola. So normally you would want to go ahead and look at an expiration date align with either the calculation that we do for the time to target or the earnings report. In this case, there is no February. We got January and March. So of course you cannot use January. We're gonna have to go for March because one of the reasons why we use the expiration date with the earnings built in is to offset a little bit the effect of time decay. In this case, we're gonna have to go with March because of that reason, which is gonna make the trade to be pricier. But also the good news about that is that the rate of time decay is lesser the longer the time to expiration. So you know, somehow it's what we got, and it's actually okay. Now this trade will be a single option. It's gonna be a single call. It will not be a spread because we don't have a target. Okay, and because we don't have a target, then we're just gonna use a single option. Okay, for entry purposes. Okay, for entry purposes, we are gonna use this UFO, which has a beginning price at 137.32. So actually we are meeting entry as we speak. So 137.32, 137.32, we are meeting entry as we speak. And what we want is we want a delta of around 30. So the 135 is giving us too much. The next one is 140, it's giving us 45, and the next one is 145. That one is giving us the more or less delta 30 that we are shooting for. So this option is going to cost $204 more or less, okay? And we are just going to go for it, okay? We're just going to go for it. So I just want to customize some of the columns I want here. So ask and bid, and I also want the mid. Yeah, that's going to be helpful. So okay, so the ask, the mid, and the bid. So I get to see it right here, okay? So the ask price is 208, the bid price is 199, the mid price is 2.04, okay? So 2.04 is kind of like the estimation as well here up here. It's a little less, but it's fine, okay? So it's time to execute this trade with a condition which was met a second ago and should be met very, very soon as well, which is 137.32 is our condition right now. It's 137.33. So we only need Pepsi to drop by 1 cent, okay, which is very little. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go for the midpoint, okay, and that's it. Okay, so I'll place an order with a midpoint, which is 2.08, okay, and that is it. So my order is in the system. Okay, and that's all I needed to do here. The order is in the system. Okay, cool. So again, using March, that's what we got. So let me write it down on the chart. Out of having everything clear. So we are using March 2019 expiration. We are buying a call if Pepsi is less or equal than 137.32, okay, and the call that we purchased was the 145. Okay, so we purchased the 145 call. Okay, that's it. We got it. So that is the plan. We have it in. You got a feel on Pepsi Cola, nice. Okay, the current value for Pepsi, yeah, midpoint 204. I was bidding 208, so yeah, I'm filled as well, as you can see, field limit here. Pepsi Cola field 208. I am into. Okay, good, perfect. Okay, so we have it. Okay, so Pepsi Cola, that was the first trade that we got today. We got non-directional trading to be done, but since we went to the end of the list of the directional long, I would like to have a quick look to the directional shorts as well. So it seems that IBM could be a candidate. Okay, so let's take a look at IBM as well as Micron. Okay, so IBM had a very intense change of climate here. Let's take a look at IBM. This is normally things that happen over earnings, okay, such a violent move. Let's take a look, October 16, okay, that was the time, and it's probably going to be that date, yes, October 16, 17, that's when that happened, okay, so at that time you should be out of any trade with IBM, okay, you should never be in this trade. But the good news is that this created a new climate, okay, so it created a new climate, and therefore it may be an opportunity for us to execute. For now, probabilities are 44, so that's not good. And if I change to pre and post market, so then probabilities become, got it, perfect, Lisa. I'm reading your comment as well. You're in too, love it. You know, guys, you make me very, very happy when we are working as a team. I always mention teamwork. I love this. And teamwork is anything we do together, guys, okay, because some of you may be thinking, yeah, but I'm not ready to trade live, things like that. It's fine. If you take the trades with paper money, it's still teamwork, okay, we are still doing it together, you are still learning from the experience, okay, so however you choose to execute, I'm totally fine with that, okay. So we got good probabilities with pre and post market data for IBM. Unfortunately, the average is around 136, and we got no UFO around 136, okay, so IBM is not a good one. What about Micron? So loading Micron, and looking at the earnings as well. So earning dates for Micron was September 26th. The next one will be December 16th. So this seems like a much better idea, even though I'm just realizing now that we are in a confirmed climate, but notice what's happening today to Micron with a massive push up 2.45%. Certainly we are on the other side of the average, so it doesn't matter what the UFOs tell you, we are trading in the wrong climate if you were to do so, because we surpassed that average price, which is our reference guide, okay? So we are gonna pass on this one, and the next one we're gonna check is Netflix. FAZ will pass on that, is an ETF. So Netflix, that one is a little bit of a higher price point stock. So it does require a larger account to trade, but it's certainly okay. And Netflix will have their next earnings on the 15th of January. That's nice. Pending data, so we need to assess probabilities in just a sec. Climate-wise, we got 4 red dots, number 4, in climates that should take 4 candles. Okay, so we just reached 4. I mean, we always run this number up, isn't it? So it's 5. We just reached 4 out of 5. So today is still okay to take the trade. If you were to do it tomorrow, you will need to execute this trade with half of the size. Okay, so this is to keep in mind. So 55% is what we get with a pre and post market. Regular session tell us 49. So that's not, well, actually still pending data. So I'm gonna wait. Gonna wait just a little. Okay, come on. Netflix. Give us the chart. Come on, Netflix. Here we go. We got it. So 48% pre and regular session. Pre and post market was giving us 51. That's much better. And therefore would like to use that one. Okay. Unfortunately, the average is around 275, and around 275 we've got no UFO at the moment. Okay, so we need to wait for these to either change climate, and then you'll have green UFOs to rely on for the trades, or these to create new UFOs as it keeps going lower, create new UFOs, and you can enter tomorrow or the day after, something like that. But not much beyond that, because then the climate would be exhausting itself. We already got four candles. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, now we're gonna go back to non-directional trades. Dirk, quick question in between whenever you have time. Somehow I missed what the length of the climate candles means. The length of the climate candle. You mean the vertical line here? Those vertical lines, Dirk? Can you please confirm that? You mean the vertical lines, or you mean those figures? So please type line or figures. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm looking at the S&P. The S&P moving higher. Sorry, I want to look at the VIX as well. VIX 1394. The line, yes. So what the line means is how far you are from the average. That's what it means in ATR multiples. So for example, when at that time that market was so far away from the average, okay, so you had a long spike because you are far away from the average, okay, where at this time where you had for example here, okay, you had a a much shorter line. It means that you are closer to the average. Okay, so in other words, you can set alerts. Actually, the tool, both in radar screen or also on the chart, the tool allows you to set alerts based on that. Okay, you can enable alerts, and depending on the input that you have for the ATR alert, anytime a market is coming like 0.5, 0.3 ATRs away from your average, you're going to be alerted, telling you that that stock or futures or forex, it's approaching what could be a good entry price as long as you have a UFO. Okay, but at least you don't plan trades when price is too far away from the average, because you know, when it's time to enter the trade, maybe you will need to use a different UFO because you planned the trade too soon. That's it. That's what it is. So anyway, so what do we have here? VIX quite low. Okay, so we're gonna have probably a little bit of difficulty to find proper non-directional trades. The one we left earlier was Qualcomm. So let me see what's happening with Qualcomm. I would be happier if Qualcomm was below, but lower. But Qualcomm actually had a larger push, isn't it? It's going up, and therefore is not really in the middle of the range. So yeah, so when we looked at Qualcomm earlier, we were looking at it was 81 something, now it's 82, and certainly 82, you know, would put you above that UFO. Okay, so by the way, 48.64 compared to 56 is better. So we're using pre and post market, and if we were to do this with Qualcomm, so basically we will need to move much higher. Remember earlier I was loading May, and there were UFOs, but they were much higher. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just forget about Qualcomm and continue working on my list to see if I can find a more reasonable opportunity. Okay, it's gonna be difficult, guys. Okay, based on what I see with the VIX, we're gonna get many no's today, but again, worth it to check. Okay, so W could be a candidate. WBA for sure, even though it's lower price point stock, so it's not ideal. Western Digital, XLNX, another candidate we're gonna check. Okay, so let's take a look. So 38%, well, it's still pending data, so we're gonna wait. Actually, the climate is not confirmed. Okay, so we're not gonna wait. We're gonna pass on this one. What about WBA? Oh, wait a minute. I just got confused myself with the directional trades. We are doing non-directional, so I'm not caring much about the climate being confirmed or non-confirmed, actually. What I care about is the probabilities. 38 is not good enough. Regular session provides us with 52. That is good enough. Okay. So now the question is, when are the earnings for W? Okay, so when are the earnings for W? Okay, the earnings for W are on October 31st, so we can only use tomorrow. Okay, we can only use tomorrow, so that means that we need to sell at least the 124, and if I sell the 124 with W using tomorrow expiration, probably we get a no. As I always say, always worth it to check. Okay, so if we do the 124, the 124 pays you 8 cents, okay, which is not enough. Okay, so next one. So WBA, Walgreen Boots Alliance. So we got 51%. If we do regular session, pre-post market brings us to 50. Okay, so 51% is better. We'll start with this one. And from there, we need to also check the earnings for Walgreens, which is October 28. So that means that we can only use tomorrow expiration. So I will need to be selling the 58s. Okay, so WBA. Let's check October 25, selling the 58 to see what we get. I would be amazingly happy and surprised if we got enough, but we don't. 0.02, which is normal because it's far and it's a low price stock, okay? Western Digital, let's take a look at WDC. Okay, so pending data, so the current value with 45% is still temporary. We need to wait for all the data to be loaded so we have a proper estimation done by the app. So we are waiting. While we wait, we'll check earnings for WDC, which are October 31st. Okay, so we also need to use tomorrow expiration. Wow, so many cases which are the same. So many cases which are the same. That makes our life a little more complicated, isn't it? So 47%. If I change to pre-post market, that becomes 1, 2, 3. Come on, come on. I just love the feel when you are researching a trade and all the rules are met and you have the trade. You know, it's nice, and especially when I conduct the sessions for you guys. So anyway, we got 39, so probabilities are not good. XLNX. So let's load XLNX, and we're gonna look at earnings as well. XLNX. So the earnings took place on the 23, so that was yesterday, which means that I am not trusting the current value for the options here because of the end of the DAT update. Okay, what else do we have? RTN. Oh, wait a minute. RTN is not 112. That's a different value. RTN is 203. Wait a minute. I believe that stock may be making all-time high. Yes. No, it's not. So we got data all the way from April. Got it. Okay, so we may have something. Depends on the earnings dates as well. So RTN. So RTN earnings on the 24. Well, that's today. Actually, we cannot even do tomorrow with RTM. Okay, LUV. Well, I told you earlier that the life of a trader is to say many no's before you get a yes, okay? And that's the way it is. But we are getting a little bit too many of the no's, isn't it? 24, that's Southwest Airlines reporting earnings today as well, okay? So look at that, 6.99% up, nice moves. What else do we have? Did I miss anything? No, I got everything. Okay, so there was one stock to be confirmed earlier, which is CSX, directional trade. I said that I may come back to it later on. We got 47%, and with regular session that was 53%. The average is 70.5, okay, and yes, we don't have anything at 70.5. Yeah, I wanted to confirm that. You probably remember I said that before. So at the moment in time, in this session, we have managed to find one trade. That was a trade with Pepsi, and nicely enough, actually price was meeting entry, so we executed at real time. So that's great. But when it comes to finding more trades, okay, so we are struggling a little bit, and it has to do with the fact that the market has been moving up. I mean, if I show you the S&P, okay, so the S&P is in an up climate for 10 candles now, where it should be 8 based on stats. I mean, when I say it should, it's not like I have an opinion on the market. The market is bigger than me, so I actually listen to what the market does. The market doesn't need to listen to me. But based on stats, okay, we have surpassed what stats would suggest. In other words, for this to be the case with the S&P, it means that most of the stocks did the same, which is move up for many days, and therefore many of the stocks are stretched or started changing climate to the opposite direction, and that's one of the reasons why probably today the S&P is only 0.09 up, which is a little bit of a boring day given the fact that there's been a lot of movement already. Okay, so when that's the case, you find few longs, but you also find few shorts. And when it comes to non-directional, because the market has been moving for a while going up and everything becomes very calm, you saw the VIX going down to 13.9, so options tend to lose a lot of their premium because there is much less excitement out there or fear, and therefore it's also more difficult to find good opportunities that pay you enough for non-directional trades, and we got less symbols and we got less opportunities to say yes. And that's what it is, okay? And that's what's happening today, which is what happened in the life of a trader. Every day is different, and sometimes you have many trades, sometimes you have very, very few, like it happens to be today. So this is also when we now open our plan B. Okay, that's why we have a plan B, for when the plan A doesn't work as expected or doesn't work as well as expected, so we can turn on plan B, which is look at neutral trades. Neutral trades are easier to find in the sense that you will find more setups that suggest doing that trade makes sense. But neutral trades are like half of an Iron Condor, if you wish, and therefore you get less premium for the same risk. So it's easier to find chart setups that support the trade, but it is more difficult to get the premium you need to justify the risk. And therefore, even though it's plan B, many times you go over plan B, and it's not like you're gonna find 20 trades in 20 minutes. You may find one or two, and if that's the case, you should be happy about it, because you can, plan B means that you're looking for trades, that are just for you to have something tradable. Is that making sense? It's not, plan B is less of an advantage for you, and therefore you should actually execute less of those trades, okay? So anyway, because plan B has to do with selling options is credit, so I want to start with options with a higher premium. So MMM 3M certainly catches my attention because of being a higher price point as a stock. So I will want to check earning days for MMM, which is today. Interesting. What else do we have? I mean, $25 stock, 40, 28, 30, 56. Then we got the Googles, which are higher price points. Okay, so we can certainly look at Google and Amazon. I said I would. We could conclude the session like that. Everything else is $30, $40. So we could certainly search, but we may end up spending a lot of our time for nothing. Okay, so what about the neutral to the short side? So LRCX, we talked about it already. MA, okay, so MasterCard, this could be one. Let's check earnings. So MasterCard reporting earnings on the 29th. So if we were to do this trade, we will need to use tomorrow expiration, okay? But it's fine. We're in a down climate, etc. So we may have that stock continue falling for one day, okay? So we only need one day. That's all we need. So let's see. Okay, I just need this to finish loading. PD on the upper left. So we need to wait to see the probabilities. Come on. Okay, we got it. So 50.99 if using regular session. When using pre and post market, the 50.99 becomes 1, 2, 3. Come on. Okay, we need that market data. Should be there in just a sec. Okay, it's really taking a little more than what I would think it should. Well, it is downloading. Let me kill it and start again. Okay, so 55 minutes, here we go. So we got 50.4 with pre and post market, and we got 275.8. Okay, so before I keep going, just to not to waste our times, MasterCard, MA, so the 275, because I don't think we'll have 276, so the 275 pays you 22. It's not enough. Not enough. Yeah, so that's what's going on here. So MLNX, and we also have Visa. So let's look at MLNX. MLNX. So we got October 30. So we will need to do the same thing with MLNX. Loading, and I'm just gonna click on Visa as well, just so the download begins. because after Visa, I think that we'll have concluded the session for today. So that way, save a little bit of time with the download, so you guys don't need to wait. So what's going on with Visa when it comes to earnings? With MLNX, we said we need to use tomorrow expression, so that's clear. With Visa, we cannot do Visa because it's tomorrow actually. Okay, so forget about Visa. So then the last opportunity we have to assess together is MLNX, which is 48% probability if we do regular session, and is 40% if we do pre-post market. So that stock, it's not meeting the rules for a directional trade, but it is meeting the rule for a non-directional trade. You've seen me use non-directional trade with 48, so it would be okay. The problem is that we need at least 2 UFOs, and I need to use tomorrow expiration, so I need premium selling the 118, which I think it would be a miracle if I do have such a huge level of premium. Okay, let me reload Option Station Pro. It's really looking like that we'll conclude the session with the Pepsi trade. That's going to be the outcome of today. We had a few sessions in the past that were a bit more fun, isn't it? But hey, that's what the market is giving us today, so we'll take it. That's it. So Option Station Pro. MLNX. Using tomorrow. If I do so, I need to MLNX, I need to do 118. So, wait a minute. There is no weekly expiration dates for MLNX. Okay, so yeah, so definitely no trade. Okay, everyone, so we are done. No trade with MLNX, and this concludes our session for today. Hopefully, even though in the end we executed Pepsi and that was it, hopefully going through the process and so on help you to review how to approach trading in your regular basis, and both in the directional and the non-directional world as well. Okay. Thomas, please use the email reach@tradewithufos.com. That would be the email that you will want to use. Okay. By the way, a quick one as well before we conclude the session. We recently launched a Twitter feed, which is twitter.com/tradewithufos. I'd like to ask you all guys to go in there and click follow if you do use Twitter, of course. So that way you can be updated real time of trades that we post and trade examples and stuff, and this could be useful for you. Some are forex, some are futures, some are options. So there is every day we are posting trades, okay, in a regular basis. Okay, so make sure that you connect with us, so that way you can be more efficient. Okay, and also when it comes to the YouTube channel, out of conversations that we have with some of you or emails, it seems that not all of you are receiving notifications when we do live videos, and it's probably because you either didn't subscribe on YouTube or you didn't click on the bell. Okay, so make sure that when you are on YouTube, you click on the bell. Okay, so that way when we do a live session, real time, you get an email and you are alerted, just in case you got distracted or there is a change of schedule or something like that. Okay, so make sure you are connected with us this way, and spread the word as well, so everyone in the community is aware. Anyway, everyone, how we post trade setup, how you can post. Oh yeah, dear, if you want to post any trade, I would love to get some of your trades posted on our channels, but instead of doing it on Twitter directly, so what you want to do is come to our website, so tradewithufos.com. Okay, and there is a section especially designed for you guys to post samples. And to be honest, maybe I should have explained that better in the past. Okay, so thanks for the question. But here you got the sample section, okay, where you can look at examples, okay, but you can also click on samples, okay? And when you click on samples, basically you get a form. There's a sample submission form where you can add your name, country, language, market, duration, type of trade, trade idea, and upload files, okay? So that way everybody uses the same format for the posts. So that way when you guys are looking at the trades, you know, so you can see it's a futures trade, it's a swing trade. The idea was staying away from trading the equities, watching the chart, waiting for a signal to show me what direction the market to move. The trader was MK, and you see the trade submitted from that URL, tradewithufos.com/samples, okay? So this is how you do it, okay? And it's nice because, you know, every time you get different explanations, okay? So Goldman Sachs short using UFO 206, and everybody will be given their own little insight, okay? So price gap into a red UFO, sold a vertical spread, so that was an option intraday trade, etc., etc. Okay. Anyway, great question. Thanks for that, Dirk. See you all soon. Actually, soon is tomorrow. Tomorrow we are getting together for intraday trading, and also be ready over the weekend because in the sharpening session, we're gonna go over the trading process again. As you know, we have a workflow, we have a flow chart that we utilize on how we plan trades. I want to go again over certain key aspects of the flow chart. I have added a few changes as well out of realizing some misinterpretations at times, or you know, sometimes it was getting a little tedious to some of you on how to plan trades. So I'm gonna be giving you a couple of alternatives that hopefully will be useful as well. So I'm counting on you over the weekend when we do sharpening, and I'm counting on you tomorrow, same time. If you trade intraday, please join me. We'll have fun. Anyway, see you tomorrow, everyone. Take care. And thanks for joining me, and thanks for the teamwork. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.